Hi folks, race day has arrived and this is the start of my 20k run from here in Thelwall to Pickering Pastures near Liverpool. And I'm doing it in support of Christian Aid and the marvellous work they do in the developing world. I'm very excited about this run. I've been awake since before 5 o'clock. The adrenaline has been absolutely pumping through my body. So I'm ready to go and I will speak to you again soon. I'm going to head out and I'm going up to the Transpennine Trail and I'll go through Lizzie Park. So here we go. Pray for my legs. I'll see you in a little while and we'll speak again. Thank you for your support. Really appreciated.
This is not our story. It's your story. The Changemakers, who for over 75 years have stood together as Christian Aid. Real people bringing about real change, tackling poverty, daring to believe it can be eradicated once and for all. And to think it all began right here. With the Second World War over, refugees in Europe were in need. The world had forgotten. But not you. Everyday folk uniting to offer love and care to people in desperate need. Reaching out with humanitarian relief and long-term support. But this was only the beginning. Over the coming decades, you would step up time and time again. You were the difference to lives devastated by the humanitarian crisis in Nigeria in the 1960s. And you showed solidarity with those peacefully protesting for their civil rights. You were the difference to hungry people overwhelmed by famine in the 1980s, to those living with HIV in the 1990s. You held aloft our placard in the marches calling for debt cancellation for poorer nations, stood side by side with those devastated by the horrors of apartheid and prejudice. And you fought for trade justice when people thought it would never be possible. Empowering people like Faith, Kokoli, and Rose to be the change in their own lives, to dare to dream again. Wherever we are in the world, we have stood shoulder to shoulder with each other to campaign for justice. And now, knowing all that we can do together, the extraordinary that can come from the ordinary, we stand united to face perhaps our greatest ever challenge, the fight for climate justice and a future for us all. Right now, the climate crisis is leaving people hungry, homeless and heartbroken. It's hurting us all, but people living in poverty fight the worst of it every day. Together with the coronavirus pandemic, the challenge we face is immense. But as we look back on all we've achieved over the past 75 years, we have amazing hope that together we will make a world of difference. That real people will bring about real change when it is needed like never before. Be that change.
So I'm somewhere near Moor. Oh, there we are. Where am I? Arpley Meadows. There you are. Arpley Meadows. So that's where I am. And I'm definitely on the Transpennine Trail now. The first part of the trail near Thelwall and Grappenhall, I had to give it a miss because it was waterlogged. So I ran down the Stockport Road and the Knutsford Road instead and took up at Latchford. And after that then the surfaces were lovely and any puddles were small. Very close to Widnes now, not far to go. There's the new bridge and the estuary. This has been a very pleasant run, something different to look at. I've not done this route before. Very nice. Anyway, see you soon.
This is my house. This is where we live. My name is Imote Oyoe. I'm 21 years and I have 6 brothers, 3 sisters. My father died 2015, while my mother died 2013. Since then, I'm the head of the family. Since my father died, he left us with some farm of orange. So we sell and feed ourselves, also go to school. This corona problem affects me in many ways. We are no more going to school, and the orange that I do sell in order to take care of my brothers, there is no one to buy. The gift that was brought by the Christian Aid helps me a lot.
How about this then? Oh. Ah. And bridge. So here we are, Pickering's pastures. Lovely too. Can't remember having been here before, but I've arrived, and very soon I'll be meeting with Crystal from Christian Aid. Thank you for your support. Thank you to Christian Aid for the opportunity to run. And may the Lord bless their fantastic work in the developing countries of our world. Thank you again, everybody. See you soon. Well folks, here we are at the finish line, 20 kilometres further on from Thelwall, here in Pickering's pastures between Widnes and Liverpool. And I'm delighted that I've been met by Christelle and by Darren, who both work for Christian Aid here in the Northwest. The first question I'm going to ask both of them is just to introduce themselves a little bit. So Christelle, you first. What are you doing in this part of the world with Christian Aid?
So I'm the Church Engagement and Fundraising Officer covering Cheshire, Staffordshire and the Wirral. So that means that my role is engaging with churches who want to take part in Christian Aid's work, whether that's giving, acting or praying, and helping them to do that.
And Darren, of course, some of you may remember Darren from when he worked with Warrington Youth for Christ. Now, and quite recently, he started working with Christian Aid. So Darren, perhaps a little bit about yourself and what you're doing in the Northwest with Christian Aid.
Yeah, so I'm Darren Staunton. Very, very similar job, in fact exactly the same as Christelle, just in a different area. So I cover Greater Manchester, Lancashire and Merseyside, and again inspire churches to both give, act and pray for the work of Christian Aid.
So, Christelle, perhaps a question I could ask you is, my legs are hurting, it's 20 kilometres, but it has raised a lot of money. What makes this worth it? What is Christian Aid going to be doing with this money that's raised?
So at the moment, Christian Aid is working in 27 countries around the world, and we've got a particular focus on climate change this year because, as many of you will be aware, our climate is in crisis. So we're trying to support communities in Kenya in particular to ensure that they have a sustainable and ever-present water supply. The way that we're doing that is by working with our partner, Anglican Development Services Eastern, to build sand and rock dams and earth dams so that when the rains come, there is water that can be stored near to the village, which means that people don't have to walk 10 or 20 miles or kilometres to fetch water. Douglas hasn't had to carry any water with him today, apart from the
two little bottles.
But many of the communities that we work with, the reality for them is that they're having to walk this kind of distance on a daily basis just to fetch their water for living purposes. So if we can, by raising money to support communities like that, we can ensure that they have some time back in their lives, up to 10 hours a day, and that means that women are able to spend time with their families, they're able to prepare nutritious meals, children are able to go to school because they don't have to spend hours and hours collecting water, so it makes a really big difference.
And Darren, what would you say makes all of this worth it?
I think when we hear from the communities, from our partners, different teams around the world, of the impact that it's having, and like Christelle says, we have the privilege of being able to hear those stories and hear what difference is made. And when we see all our supporters around the UK and particularly in the Northwest giving up their time, giving up their prayers, giving up their commitment to see change happen, it's when we see change happen that it really excites us. So.
And one of the big campaigns that Christian Aid is involved with is climate change and dealing with everything to do with that. Perhaps Christelle, you could just explain what Christian Aid is doing in that sort of lobbying world.
Lots and lots in the way of campaigning. The best place to go to find out everything about that is to go to our website. So if you just do a Google search for Christian Aid campaigns, that will tell you everything. But very briefly, you might be aware that we have two really important events taking place in the UK this year. We've got the G7 Summit, which is taking place in Cornwall next month, and COP26, the UN Climate Change Summit, which will take place in Glasgow in November. And they're two moments when politicians from all over the world will be gathered. So we are focusing our campaigning, our action, our prayers on those two moments. So there are opportunities to send postcards to Boris Johnson to remind him of the need to focus on climate change. You can find the links for that on our website. There's a climate change petition that you can sign on there as well, and lots of other suggestions about how you can lobby, work with your local politicians and nationally as well. So please do visit the website and take a look at those resources.
And Darren, anything that you'd like to add about the whole climate change focus?
Just that every voice matters, every prayer matters, every support matters, whether it be through financial support, through lifting up prayer, through using your voice to campaign, like Christelle was saying, writing a postcard to Boris Johnson. Sometimes we think that individually we can't make a difference, but if everybody individually joins together, we start to see a bit of a collective movement happening. And we have seen change as a result of campaigning. We have seen change as a result of the power of prayer and power of transformation. So I want to really just encourage you, if everybody can do their little bit, then we'll make a huge difference.
As you know, this run has been supported by the people of All Saints Church and many of the people who live in Thelwall. I wonder if on behalf of Christian Aid you could just say thank you to them for their support and for their sponsorship. They've been amazing.
Absolutely. We would be absolutely lost without our supporters. You may be aware that last year Christian Aid's income was halved. Christian Aid Week income was halved. We'd normally raise about £8 million. We actually raised 4, but that and whatever we raised this year is absolutely testimony to the commitment and dedication of our supporters who do so much, go above and beyond, like you've done today, Douglas. A marvellous effort. But of course, your running wouldn't mean very much without the financial support that you've been given as well. It makes such a huge difference. Without it, we couldn't do any of the work that we do. So thank you so much on behalf of the people that we work with around the world and on behalf of us as staff. Thank you for everything that you've given and all of the time you've put into activities as well.
Anything to add to that?
Yeah, just to echo my thanks, and please do be praying for us, for the charity, for churches as well, as they look to engage with poverty and fight injustice in the world as well. So thank you.
And perhaps we ought to finish with holding this up like this. There we are. Have you got us in?
Yes.
My thanks to Darren and to Christelle for meeting me here at Pickering's Pastures. Thank you too for all the support from around the village and within the church. And may God bless the wonderful work of Christian Aid. Thank you.